Welcome to the Nintendo Show, episode 56. I'm your co-host, Devin Moon, and with me, as always, Trevor Payne. Trev, how you doing, man?
Dude, we're back. We're back in business, Dev. Nintendo Show is happening. We're excited to be here. Man, we're on fire. Let's do this.
Dude, the buns are burning. It is great to be back. Guys, it's been forever. It's been like 4 million months or something like that. I don't know how long it's been, but it's good to be back in the seat, talk Nintendo. It's where we were brought up. This is our bread and butter. This is the golden goose that laid the egg long ago. Trev, this week we're going to talk about Monster Hunter taking over our lives. We got Switch Pro rumors that we sadly have to talk about again. And do you think the 3DS games should be coming to the Switch? Should we get some ports from the 3DS? We're going to be talking about that as well. Remember, listener, if you want to be part of the show, visit our website at nintendoshow.com, or you can send us your questions, comments, concerns to be implemented into this very show. Trev, are you ready to enter the mysterious world we call Mr. Miyamoto's Magical News?
Woohoo!
Number one. I kind of, just put a little drama on that. Number one for you. Trev, Monster Hunter Rise is finally in the wild. What do we think as Monster Hunter has entered the foray? This is their first foray into the Nintendo Switch, at least the first new game for the Switch specifically. What are you thinking, man? How you feeling about this?
Dude, so I have been looking forward to this game. This is probably my most anticipated game of this year. And I have to say, I am enjoying it. We took Friday off. It was Monster Day. We played tons. Me, my boys, and we pre-ordered it, had it ready to go. And I gotta say, I'm coming in. I haven't finished the game, but I'm gonna put my Trevor Payne stamp of approval, saying that I really like this game. It is awesome, Devin. I know you're not much of a Monster Hunter guy, right?
No, but Trev, I am dipping the toe. The
toe
are you? Has been dipped. Yes.
Oh, you pinky toe or like thumb toe? Big toe.
Big toe in this.
Oh,
no demo. No demo.
Okay,
Full-fledged, got the whole purchase, everything. I'm actually really liking this, man. Like, I'm not a Monster Hunter guy. I tried one of the generations, Ultimate or something on the DS. And it just, I don't know. It didn't click for me, but I'm starting to get it. I think I'm starting to get why people dig this. Like, I'm getting the cycle of this. I understand like the loop here. I'm really starting to enjoy it, man. It's so good. Dude, so good.
That makes me so happy to hear, because it is so fun, and you have to jump in with us, because it's even more fun with a group of people, a group of friends throwing down. But I mean, a couple of my takeaways from I've probably put in a dozen hours or so. I know I've slept, ate, breathed Monster Hunter this weekend. It's been great. But I mean, a couple of things that I really like. So performance wise, it runs really good. Like, it feels like a solid locked 30. I wish it was 60, but 30, it is perfectly acceptable. Like, it works really well. And for being a Switch game, it really looks great. Like, I feel like with what they're doing, with whatever their graphics engine, like, they are pushing it to the limit, and it really does look great for a Switch game. It looks a lot better than that 3DS port of Monster Hunter Gen Ultimate that came out a couple years ago on the Switch. Definitely not as good as Monster Hunter World, but I mean, that's to be expected, based off of the platform that it's on. And the other thing is just, I feel like the time that you spend in between hunts, they've made it as user-friendly and as quick as possible to get you back out hunting. A lot of old Monster Hunter games, I've always felt like there was a lot of like downtime and running throughout town and all these things like this. Like, the load times are so quick and you can fast travel, and I feel like I'm able to get all my little chores done so I can get back out there super quick and hunting those monsters. So I mean, overall, dude, like, it feels like Monster Hunter, it's like a mix between World and old Monster Hunter, and I am loving it. It is so fun.
How do you feel about it compared to World? You like it more, less? Is it just too different for you to compare the two?
There's things I like more and there's things I like less. So, for instance, just graphically speaking, like, just I do miss what World looks like. World is a beautiful game, and I really wish that the Switch had more horsepower because, dude, like it is hard to kind of feel like you're taking a step back, because it doesn't feel as new as it possibly could have. But that being said, I love the maps. There's a lot of verticality. I love the wire bugs, like being able to zip around and basically use like grappling hooks essentially and tying those into your different like combos with your weapons and things like that. So I think that's the thing I like more. I like the combat more. I like the traversing. I like that I'm not spending a ton of time searching for the monster, because in the other game you use these like firefly bug things to kind of track the monster, and you got to look at for footprints and things like that. This game, there's not much of that. Like it throws a question mark or an image of the monster on the map and you know where it is, so you can get right to hunting. So there's, I feel like, less downtime. And again, I feel like they want you to be more engaged with the combat, like jumping on your palamutes, like the dogs, and be able to just ride, as opposed to take this like long walk. Like sometimes like the monsters would fly to the other side of the map and world, and you're like, okay, here we go, here's 5 minutes of running. This, I feel like you jump on, you can zip over super quick. Like I that's probably the stuff that I like more than world.
It sounds to me like it's a better game than World, but a World definitely has a better world,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's just a lot more alive feeling, and that really doesn't really play out in the Switch very much. I think,
Dude, totally.
you look at it, compared to like 3DS or whatever that was that came Ultimate or whatever that came to the Switch, definitely better than that, definitely an
Oh yeah.
improvement. And I think the RE engine looks great. I just think, yeah, man, like when it comes to like seeing the animations of the plants and all this kind of stuff, and that actually is kind of a big deal. It does make you, feel like you're in that world more, makes it feel more alive. And that really helps, I think, for this game where it's like about hunting monsters and, putting you in that environment. I don't know. But as a game, it seems made from what I hear, it just seems like a better game for all those reasons, So
I'm with you. Like I do think I like the you know the overall gameplay better. And you're right. Like I think the big thing is like when you run through the grass, there's not as much like rustling and like movement and wind and shadows and all this stuff that really like just pulls you in from like an atmospheric side of things, of like being present in the world. But overall the gameplay is fantastic. It is so fun. And then the online. So in world, it was really annoying and complex how to group up with other people to hunt. Something like there's oftentimes like you'd unlock a new monster to go fight, and you couldn't invite people onto the hunt with you until they also saw the cutscene where they like encounter the monster. It was really
oh
weird and
boy.
awkward. So
Uh-huh.
like everybody's just like, why can't I join? And then you figure out the nuances of it, and it's fine. But this is so easy to pair up and invite friends, even on the Switch. Like everything just works super well. And there's also a really nice way of inviting random people onto hunts with you, where you can just say like, hey, yeah, let other people just join me if they decide to, and then you can go. And it felt like every time I would get a full group, and it was awesome. Where world just felt really awkward and weird. The only thing this game is missing, Devin, is voice chat. I wish
I
I
know,
wish
dude.
Nintendo would just step up and provide a solution, because World had voice chat. Monster Hunter Try back on the Wii U had voice chat, and it was fantastic. So, I'm reverting to using Discord with a group to be able to communicate, and it sucks to have to go outside the console, outside the ecosystem. Nintendo should provide an avenue for this, and they have an app, but they don't. Not every game is supported. Like, it is stupid. I really dislike how Nintendo has that set up.
Well, and why even have that app, dude? Like half of the you don't
There's only like
even.
3, 4 games that use it.
It's such a pointless system. And a lot of their games, they were like, yeah, who cares? And it's why, since especially since the Wii U had voice chat for try, it makes no sense to me that the Switch couldn't even perform it. So it's cool that the online is actually decent, but for a game about communication,
Yeah.
it would be nice to be able to
Communicate.
talk. Yeah,
At least there's always been like these quick like quips that you can choose from, and you can like keyboard touchscreen type it or plug in a keyboard or really dumb stuff like that. But those just seem like those should be like backup options as opposed to the primary form of communication.
dude. And for me, like as a first time like Monster Hunter dude, this it's a lot. Like it's a
Oh
lot.
yes, yes.
And I can't even like dude, I can't even play the game well enough to think about like communicating through some like looking through a whole bunch of lines and being like, yeah, I want to say this while the monster's coming at me. It just seems like a lot to put on top of someone that's new to it. And
Totally.
I and for me, so for me for this game, like I really enjoy it, but it is you need to be willing to take the time for it. So if you're a newcomer like me, realize that this is not like I don't know, like other Capcom games, like a Devil May Cry or what have you. It's not a game where you're just going to be hacking and slashing. You will be doing that, but there's just a lot of layers to this game,
Yep, a lot of
and
systems
a
and
lot of
yeah.
systems, and it's like, and it's not like logical systems either. It's
Nope.
like it's craziness. It's like it's like that weird Japan stuff that you're like, oh, okay, this bug and this bug and this bug gives you a buff. Instead of like making it's just so confusing. Like
Totally.
there's just so many different bugs and different plants and different things that do different things.
Oh yeah.
It's layered, man, and it is a lot. And for me, who I don't like to read, seeing these big pages, I'm like, skip, skip,
Yep.
skippity, skip, skip, skip,
Well,
and I'm just
yeah.
gonna learn it the best I can, as with videos or other things. I'm just not into the way that they bring about this information. I don't know what they could do since it's so layered. And again, this is Monster Hunter. This is like so many generations after, like, this is so far past. So I'm like way late to the boat. So I understand. Like, I don't want to dumb down, but it's kind of hard.
They could make it better by just adding voice chat, because some of my very first early Monster Hunter years, way back in the day, the reason why I learned it was from communicating with other players and other people, whether it be in person and actually chatting and be like, oh, that's how that works, and explaining how the game functions. Like, that is such a core part of Monster Hunter. And I feel like I take the opportunity to teach friends that we get together and teach them, and they're like, oh, this is awesome, and it spreads. And not having that communication, I think, is a bummer for new players, because the community is really cool. There's a lot of great people in the Monster Hunter community, and I feel like they would be willing to take on a new player and be like, hey, let's teach this dude, because then it adds one more person that can play that we can play this game with. So I wish Nintendo would provide that.
Yep. I know. I'm like totally with you. It's like, cuz that's what I hear like from everyone. It's like, yeah, you can totally, like, I learned it from someone else and it was really fun. And that's like a lot of the way that people are learning this. And for me, like as a loner by myself with, this very poor chat system isn't going to really work. And for like an example, like I just started a mission thinking, okay, this is the right thing to do. And I was actually playing, I think, a multiplayer mission, and I was fighting this bear thing for like the whole 50 minutes, and I'm like, why is this thing not dying? I'm like, I've hit the crap out of this thing. I was like, I'm doing pretty well. I'm dodging, I'm hitting this thing, nothing, it's not dying. And I was like, oh, I think I'm supposed to have like four dudes like on this
Right,
stupid
right.
thing. And I didn't know that because I skipped through all the pages there.
Well,
And
that's kind of
so
on you, Dev.
yeah, that one's on me. The great thing also though with this one, for the single player people, seems to be more single player content than other Monster Hunter games, at least from what I can tell. And you can do some hunts by yourself with the other sister or other chick that are more based on the story or something. Or it seems that those are a little bit easier than the other lady that I went to, and I was like, this bear ain't dying. So yeah, I don't know. I really like this game. I just a warning. There's lots of layers to it. If you're going to get into it as a newcomer, find somebody that already has played it, or try to realize this is going to take some time and I just want to learn the systems and get into it that way. But I'm loving it, man. It's so cool. I understand it now. I
Yeah,
get it.
well, and I mean, just that core loop of go fight this big monster. It's a 30-minute boss fight where you're fighting one thing and doing it as a team, and then turning it into armor and weapons to fight something bigger and harder. Like it, that loop is just so like video game at heart and so fun. Like it's like one of my favorite forms, like, 'cause it's not an RPG. Like, it is very much action. You're not like level, I mean, I guess you are kind of leveling up some things, but it's not like you don't have like a character level that you're leveling up and like putting stats in different things, but you're really leveling up your gear, creating new gear. It's super fun. I really enjoy it.
Trev, give me a review score right now. I need it
Ooh,
right now.
right now I'd say 9, solid
9.
9. Like, I am just in love with this game.
Okay, 9 it is, guys. Go out and get this thing, especially if you're a Monster Hunter fan. I'm sure you already bought it, but you know. Let's get into number 2. After years of speculation, it seems that the Switch Pro is very likely coming on its way. Here's everything we know according to Nintendo Life. So we know that we got a new chip in there, the Tegra X1 chip. It's going to be upped. It's going to be improved, basically, an improved version of that chip, which is already going on in the Switch. It also seems like we're going to have some kind of 4K, a DLSS. So for
Yes.
all you techie techs out there, it also looks like we got a release date, most likely holiday 2021. Those are the new things. Trev, with all this information, we've done the Pro so many times. It's kind of old hat. How are you feeling about the information though so far? They're saying like PS4 Pro possibly good.
Yeah, they're saying PS4 Pro potentially. And, honestly, a lot of these things do add up to an extent, especially with the new NVIDIA Tegra chip. And then DLSS is like the, I don't know, like the holy grail of PC gaming. Like, it is so cool. So it stands for deep learning super sampling,
Uh,
and they use AI to basically take an image and upscale it and fill in the blanks, basically. And it's kind of crazy. Like, I was able to take, just for instance, Monster Hunter, I believe it's Monster Hunter World, but like where it was running at like maybe 35, 40 frames per second on my PC. And then when they updated the game to support DLSS, I was easily hitting 70 frames. So, like, just by simply doing some of that AI learning, they're able to produce a great image as well as increase the performance with the same hardware. So it is really cool technology, and I
okay.
could totally see this benefiting Nintendo, especially because, like, again, it's a portable system. So to have something that can maybe do something on the AI side of things as opposed to just brute force with horsepower, being able to produce a higher resolution image, and I think that they could get away with quite a bit with that tech. So I think it's cool that they're going to be allegedly going to be implementing this. But it does make sense. It does make sense that they would use this. They're already paired up with Nvidia, so why wouldn't they?
Yeah, and it seems very logical to me. It seems like a cheaper method to get better visuals on their system, and yeah, it would make sense to me. Also, we're getting an OLED panel, and that seems like it's very likely because we're like even getting things from reports from the people that are making the stuff, that all of a sudden there's going to be a lot of OLED panels that are needed, that are Switch size.
Well, yeah, and it's come to the point where like it's getting cheaper and cheaper, and these screens are already being produced and these panels, like in mass quantities for phones. Like, you might as well. And plus, like typically with OLED, you get better battery. So for being a handheld, being able to not run all pixels all the time, but if there's blacks, they're just turned off, save a little bit of battery life that way. I think that sounds cool. And then if obviously it would only be at a 720. Display, like when you're in handheld mode, if it is only a 720p screen, but being able to dock it and be able to get that higher resolution, because I'm playing like we said, Monster Hunter, and I'm docking it most of the time, and it doesn't look amazing, you know. So if we were able to get something a little bit better on that bigger screen, then awesome. But 720 is just fine for being in handheld.
Yeah, the 720's never bugged me with the size of the handheld screen. I wonder how much larger, if they are going to go larger. I wonder if they would. Would you want a larger Switch? Like a bigger panel than that?
No, I feel like it's already getting kind of heavy, like to sit there and hold for a long time. Like, you know, like with like my wrists start to get like a little fatigued if I don't have like some kind of like grip on it or something like that. So I wouldn't want it to be much bigger, but I would want them to utilize that black space around the bezel a little bit more to get a bigger display, but then use the same size. Cause like I don't know if they're gonna like if they would do like a whole different set of Joy-Con to go with it. Like that would be crazy for them to be like, okay, now these are the Joy-Con Pro, and so none of your old stuff works with this new one. That just seems not smart to me. I think they'll either do like, hey, this thing has controls built in and they don't come off, like it's built in, or they continue with their current Joy-Con situation.
Yeah, I think they probably would stay with the same Joy-Con situation. It would be weird to have, especially the Joy-Con is such a like it's versatile, and it seems like why wouldn't it? I'm just surprised we actually haven't seen more from the Joy-Con, more like a GameCube filling one, or like things that like feel more like an NES, like different shapes, just for
Yeah, you
people.
only get that right now from like third parties, really, to
Yeah,
be honest. So it, and which is funny because like if you would have thought like someone would be really capitalize on this kind of concept, it would be Nintendo, but it's not.
yeah,
Like they have really just kind of periodically put out new colors. Even Microsoft puts out like a
yeah.
new color combination
I know.
controller every other week, dude.
Yeah.
Like it just seems weird that Nintendo really hasn't really pushed this.
Yeah, the control, even the colors, dude, and they're not even, like, exciting colors. They're like, when they come out, I'm
No.
like, "Oh, okay."
Here's orange and purple. Okay, no one asked for that. Thank you, I
Here's a
guess.
dud. Thank you. Yeah, I don't understand the Joy-Con at all. Like, when I saw the Joy-Con for the first time, I was like, "Dude, they're gonna do something crazy with this," but they haven't done anything crazy with it at all.
Totally.
But yeah, I don't think I think you're right, man. I think the Switch is already big. Um, for me, I use the Switch Lite because I like the size better. But like, I think it's too big, and I do wish there was like a more premium Joy-Con though. And I don't think it doesn't have to have grips or anything. But man, I would love longer sticks would be nice on that thing.
Yeah.
Better
Yeah.
triggers would be nice on those things. You don't have to like change the design of it too much. I just feel like it's not my favorite feeling controller, especially for shooters. I think this would be for third parties a lot of the time, like this new visual, 4K visuals. We can get your PlayStation 4 properties on here and your Xbox properties on here, right? I think when you're getting those third party games like these, we're going to get more ports, everyone. Woohoo! When we get more ports from the older, not the old system, but the new old system, yeah, we're gonna want shooters that actually can, it's fun to actually play on. It's hard to play Doom on a stick that's like you get to the end of the stick in
Totally
two
agree.
seconds. So for me, that needs to change. The release date, holiday 2021. Does that seem like a good time to do this? Is that when you would do it as if you were a Nintendo, if you were the big N?
My guess is that they were probably hoping to do it sooner, and then pandemic stuff happened. But I mean, like, here's the thing. Right now, it's hard. Like the whole microchip shortage across the board. Like even car manufacturers are having issues where, like, Ford's like, "Hey, we have all these trucks built, but we can't finish them because we don't have enough of the chips." I really think this is a bad time, and especially with we've seen how the current new gen, between PlayStation and Xbox, like they're having a hard time getting these devices out there to people. Graphics card manufacturers are having trouble. I feel like this is tough. I guess they're projected to make about 1 million a month is kind of what people are, I guess, wherever these reports are coming from are estimating. And that might be enough because, like, think about it, like this is going to be a premium device. They're speculating that it'll be about $400, so it's going to be Nintendo's most expensive device that they've ever put out. And maybe they're planning on like, hey, we're not going to sell these like Switch Lights or the normal Switch, because I think they'll continue with those, and I think those will still be the main device that everybody buys. And maybe because this will be like the premium Nintendo device, that they'll get away with it though.
Yeah, and man, that price though, man, that really bums me out. You look at the PlayStation 5, digital, and you're like, yeah, that's $400 too. Like it just is ridiculous. I think they have to bump it down 50.
Well, no, I don't think so, because Devin, they already have a device that's 200. They already have a device that's 300.
Yeah, but
Like, provide the premium option, and I mean, they're hitting all
I
categories.
know, and that's probably what they are thinking. I think it's like I think you're right. It's probably a 3DS situation where it's like they don't actually care to sell that many. They're just like, hey, it's premium, and we're gonna get the Nintendo suckers, and it's okay. Like we're gonna get
Well, and then eventually they phase out the old one and replace, the old one with this one and drop it to $300.
yeah, it could be that
I
way.
could see that happening. I do wish it was a little bit cheaper, but you got to think about it as like, this is not only a portable device that has all this stuff packed into it with screens and batteries and all this stuff. Like, price wise, it makes sense, but it just like, it is a bummer to be like, okay, here's another
Yeah,
$400.
but like all those components, man, are a lot cheaper than they were at the beginning, and it still
It's
hasn't
true.
gone down,
Very true.
at all. I think the Switch Lite could be like a 150 console. Then just 50 down for
Ooh,
everyone, 250,
that's a neat way to
350.
think about it.
Yeah,
Maybe they drop everything $50, and well, maybe we could see that. Like, we are far into this generation where we haven't seen a price cut yet. So maybe this is the time they do that $50 price cut on everything, and then launch this one at 350. Like, that could be a
yeah,
possibility.
and I think that's probably how you kind of deal with that whole crowd that's like, dude, I'll just buy a PlayStation 5, because and that's the thing. There's a lot of people that are still not getting, like myself, not getting a PlayStation 5. So when I see this Pro and when it comes out, I'm not going to be like, yo, I need that. I'm going to be like, no, I'm going to save my money for a PlayStation 5. Like, and then I'll get the Pro later, sometime, but I'm
Absolutely.
not going to push the Pro over another system. I'm saving my money for something that I don't have the games for. And that's the other thing. Trevor,
Yeah.
we're going to get like new games for this. Is it going to go full new 3DS where you're getting like, we're going to cut off some of the market?
No.
You don't think so?
I really don't think that they will. I think that just seems silly, especially if this isn't the Switch 2 or like a generation, leap difference. This sounds like this is like the half step, like that. At least that's what reports are saying, where I think it will be the same games, but going forward on these newer titles, that they'll take advantage of that extra horsepower. That type of situation is what we're going to see. But I really don't think it's going to be like, okay, this is exclusive only on the Switch Pro. That just seems bad idea, because like, they have so many out there in the wild, and then you launch software that's specific for this very like small percentage. That just doesn't make sense unless they're starting a whole new generation.
Yeah, and I think I mostly agree with you. I think there's only one situation I could see that not being true, and that's like third party games, because like they can't go any further with the port situation. We really are like, I think at the end of the 360 ports and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm sure they could find more, but I think they got to go to the new generation, and so I think some people will be left behind. But they're going to be like, "Hey, EA, we know your Frostbite thing has been having a hard time. We have a system. It runs like the PS4 Pro. You can definitely play those games on it, and those people who have this system will get those games. Everyone else, you'll still get your first party games. Nintendo's not going to leave you behind, but any third party game, from this point on is going to be, pro exclusive. That's the only thing I can think. I don't think they're going to do first party. I don't.
No, definitely. But I think, that's a good point. I think you might be right. And also, like, something that just came to me is, what if they no, we have an option. Like, yeah, everything's going to be across everything. We're going to get the new games for Pro, but these crazy new high end things can play on the old Switches, but you have to stream them, some kind of game streaming, where something like that, where like, hey, it is available on everything. You can play it locally on this one or stream it. Maybe that seems like it would be kind of weird, but
That's an
maybe.
option. Yeah. The stepping stone kind of systems are always weird. Like the PS4 Pro was
Yep.
weird. And even thinking about those prices for those consoles is weird. Like the Xbox One X was almost the same price as the Xbox Series X all the way up to that point when it released. It was like still $500 like a month or two before that console came out. So it's a weird stepping stone, and I think Nintendo's just going to be in that weird zone where you're like, maybe this is too much money, but we're still going to charge it, and you're still
Potentially.
going to buy it, so it's all good. It's going to happen. It just Nintendo's always been like this. You look at the 64 with its expansion pack. You look at like the 3DS line, the DS line. It always has been this way. It's no surprise to me that they would do the same thing. Let's get into some fan questions real quick. Mad as A asks, should Nintendo port some 3DS games to the Switch, and which ones, if any? 3DS games, should they be ported? We've done all the Wii U stuff almost. Trev, there are 18
That's
out of 20, I
crazy.
think it was 25 Wii U ports. It is insane how many Wii U ports is on the Switch. It's crazy, crazy town. Do you think we need some 3DS love in here? Would you like some 3DS games, or you want to leave that old girl behind?
No, I love the 3DS so much. I would really like them to bring the new Metroid game, the latest 2D Metroid game.
Mhm.
What was it? Samus Returns something.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that.
Yeah, I because like I never finished that game. Yeah, Metroid
Yeah,
Samus Returns. I never finished it. I because it came out when the Switch was already launched, so I
exactly.
had a hard time going back to it. But if they were able to port that over, add some extra graphic capabilities and throw it, yeah, of course I'd play it. That would be awesome. And there were so many great RPGs. I would love to play through Zelda: Link Between Worlds again, but I guess I could just do that on the 3DS. But I want everything on the latest console. So if they wanted to port stuff, I would be happy with it. Just don't charge $60.
It's funny, like this. I feel like we've all become accustomed. I don't know if it's Xbox that did this to us or what. It's just like we want every game that was from before on our new systems now. And before, like, dude, once you were done, you were done. You never saw those they never touched each other. Now it's like we want it, and it's totally fine. Nintendo's the only one that's like, yeah, we're still going to charge you money for it, hardcore. Like, PlayStation doesn't do great either, but man, yeah, no thank you on the 60s, especially since that would be more than the 3DS. But it wouldn't surprise me if they did do that.
I
I would
know.
love to see, like, yeah, Link. There's like a lot of games. I didn't play Link Between Worlds. I would like to play that game. I had a 3DS, I just didn't get to it. And then yeah, there's like a lot of cool 3DS games that I've seen that I was like, dude, I would love to play it, but I never enjoyed the feel of the 3DS. It just felt too childish. I didn't really like it. I don't know how well those games port without a dual screen.
Right. Or, like for instance, the Link Between Worlds, there's a lot of like puzzles that played with 3D and depth of, so maybe that would be kind of a bummer. But I mean, most games I would turn off the 3D, so that should be fine. But yeah, you're right, not having the two screens, so they would have to do some definite work, and depending on the game, it could make or break it. So, but I would like to see them. I especially if, like you said, like if they do just like, hey, we're porting this, it's $20,
Yeah. Yeah,
$30, check
exactly.
it
Yeah.
out. Good times.
Yeah, if it was something like that, I would be totally down for that. And just, put it on the eShop. You don't have to make a big thing of it.
They should
Just
have a 3DS attachment where you like clip it to the bottom and it's a touch screen on
there it
a
is.
second screen on the bottom. There it is. And then it'll clamshell.
Yeah,
There
dude,
you go.
that's
Problem
that's
solved.
the missing
That's
link.
actually the Switch
That
Pro.
is the Switch Pro. Everyone's like freaking out for these oh these these screens, but they all are just going to be screens for an attachment.
Just looks
Yeah,
nasty.
just this
I'm
big old
down. Let's
nasty
do it.
attachment. Listen, we tried to skip the whole dual screen thing, but we just couldn't
We
stop.
just couldn't.
Couldn't
We had to
stop.
go
Got to
back.
come back. But you can clam it, so your screens are nice and protected now.
Love it.
Yeah, man. And think about it, like most of those, it just at the end, it was like, just make them menus. Eventually, like all the
Yep.
new stuff, it just becomes a menu button. Like all the Xbox and the PlayStation, they're like, check out this new center button. Like the PlayStation with that
Oh, the
the giant
touch.
touchpad thing. And then they're like, yeah,
Yep.
no, it's a map button.
That's a map button. Oh,
Oh,
okay,
okay,
cool.
cool.
I didn't know we needed a map button that
Didn't
big,
know,
but
but
okay, that's
cool.
cool.
That's fine. I like that you kept it, but that's awesome. Yeah, it's funny. Everyone with their cool ideas, and then it all becomes just a map screen. So,
Yep.
yep, I would, dude. Of course, 3DS games are great, and I would love to see more of them. Hey, listen, asks, why is Nintendo killing off 3D All Stars? Speculation time. 3D All Stars is dead this month, like in a couple days. 3D All Stars, Mario 35th. Me and you, we speculated before that we thought maybe they would like at the last second kind of turn on this. No, dude, they're going full steam ahead, just jumping off that cliff. They don't care. Everyone can die in the car. They don't give a crap. They're just
They don't give a f about nothing.
yeah, dude. Just lighting that match and letting Mario burn in a heaping rage.
You know, it'd be so funny. So at least, all right, we know that like, hey, the stuff that's already out there, stuff at retailers, it's out there. People can still buy it. If you buy the digital codes, they're still redeemable. Yeah. But you can no longer buy them from Nintendo. Once the stores sell out, they're out. But it would be so funny. I could just see Nintendo. They're like, everybody send us back your copies. They're like burning it in front of people, incinerating. Yeah. You can't have your Mario.
Mario burning.
I don't know. Like,
yeah,
it's the weirdest thing. I don't get it. And honestly, I wasn't super in love with that collection anyways. Yeah. Like, whatever. There's so many other ways to play these games, but it just seems like a weird choice. Like, why not just leave the game out? Like, especially digitally. Like, why not? Like, I don't see the reason. They're just going all Disney on us, man, and doing that so like funny. Fake scarcity crap.
Oh, man, I don't even think it's that. Like at first I thought maybe, but now you know what I think it is? I think it really reminds me of old Nintendo. Like you remember when you got like Wind Waker and a couple people got like the GameCube version of Ocarina of Time and it had like the Master Quest on it and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What was that? You know what I mean? Like it reminds me of something like that where you're like, oh, only a few people got that. Like, people got screwed. Like some people, didn't get that version of Zelda. And it sucks to be you. And that's what Nintendo thinks. And that's like, honestly, I think it's one of those situations. And I think there's a couple other examples where they mean it when they say anniversary. They're like, yeah, it's happening this one year. I'm sorry. Screw you, dude. It's just not going to work. And I think that's honestly what it is. I don't think it's a scarcity thing. I don't even know if it's like before it was like me thinking, Nintendo wants those properties to not be out in the wild and so easy to get. They want to make more money from them, which is probably partially true. But I honestly think it's just, it's an anniversary, guys. And so we're going to treat it like an anniversary. And some of you, hey, we gave you warning. Sorry. It's over.
Thanks, Nintendo. You're so nice.
The other thing is like, they don't need money.
Because it's so hard, Devin. It's so hard for them to leave it at least digitally on their eShop. It's so difficult.
Trev, it is so hard to make money. Okay. But that's the thing. Like they're willing to burn it, dude. They don't care. It's just one of those things. So it just seems to me that they just always wanted it to be a short time thing. We're not going to put a lot of work into this. We don't care that much about it. It's just for Mario fans to have a fun, cute little gift. And it's not a big deal to us. And it just tells by the port, it's not a good port. It's an average port with great games, so good riddance.
Oh boy.
Get out of here, 3D All Stars. Jeff, let's end with our final recommendations. This is where we give something awesome to check out, video games or otherwise. Trev, what are your recommendations, dude? What you got?
Yeah, dude. One of my so I've talked about it in the past on the podcast are these weird little emulation machines, these little handheld devices, a lot of them from China that can emulate a plethora of old consoles and things like that. But there is a website that I'd like to plug that I've really enjoyed. It's retrogamecorps.com. He has a YouTube channel as well. And if you're into these devices, he has an amazing site where he has put together these like in-depth tutorials on how to customize it and how to add box art to, just like whatever you want to do with these devices, that he helps you take it to the next level. And he's really good. He's very thorough, and he puts written guides as well as these step-by-step video guides. It has been so helpful and so fun because I really enjoy collecting these Chinese knockoff handhelds. Like they're very cool. Like it's so neat, and they're getting very like advanced with what you're able to do with these machines, and which can be very complex and confusing. And this guy has done such an amazing job. His videos are on point, so please go check him out if you're interested at all. Again, it's Retro Game Corps. Awesome dude. Support his stuff.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, that it's pretty cool, the emulation stuff that they're doing from China and stuff. So yeah, that sounds cool. For me, guys, we started. So if you've been listening to the podcast, well, we haven't been on for 4 months, and you're probably wondering what's going on. If you follow us on Facebook, some of you guys do, you would know that we're working on Weekly Recharge, and that's become a big part of what we do. Weekly Recharge is our all video games and nerd culture platform where me and Trev will just dump videos on the random, uh, what we are thinking about weekly, basically. And it's been a lot of fun. We're both learning and trying to get better as we go, but it's been a lot of fun to do like quicker videos, YouTube type videos. And I think, yeah, I think it would be really enjoyable to anyone that loves the Nintendo show. I know we have like a lot of podcast listeners that I don't know your names, don't know who you are, but I know you're there, and it would be cool if you guys want to come to Weekly Recharge. Go subscribe there, like and comment, do all that good stuff. Check out the videos we're producing there. Just want to make sure you guys know, so we're not just leaving you hanging. Also, the Nintendo show, just as news, we will be going to an every other week kind of thing. We used to do weekly, but we just found that there's just not enough news to actually carry the show, and it just gets tiresome and boring, to talk about the same stuff or like twist on something that we've already talked about. And I just kind of want a show that's always interesting and something that me and Trev always want to talk about and like to talk about. So we're going to do every other week from now on. And that's just mostly for you guys to have an entertaining show. And it'll be a shorter show too, because we just want to get the good stuff out, get to the main stuff, and make it a better show all around. And so, yeah, that's what's happening with the Nintendo show. As far as other stuff, Snyder Cut is amazing, and you should check it out. I'm going to give my review of the Snyder Cut on Weekly Recharge. That's the next episode that I'll put up. It is so good. Go check that out. If you haven't seen the Justice League
Yes.
Snyder Cut, it is so much better than Justice League, the theatrical version. It is so
Like
much
night
better.
and
Night and
day.
day. It is insane to me. Like the things they cut out of that movie. It is just it just blows my mind, dude. Like
like a whole character arcs, like everything. Like it
yes,
is crazy.
dude. What?
I mean,
Oh
it
my
is
god.
like 1,000 hours long
It
now, but
is. It is. It's but yeah, I mean, I could get into it. The video is going to be very long, guys. So, anyways, yeah, it's so good. And dude, Trev, I don't know, like the Flash is important in that new Justice League movie, and so is freaking
yeah,
Cyborg.
Cyborg.
Yeah, they both saved the day, dude. It's but they're cut out in the theatrical one. It just blows my mind.
So
So
crazy.
weird. Anyways, guys, check it out. So much better. And he's doing black and white ones too because he's crazy like that. So do
I
you
love it.
color
The
black and
fact that
white,
this
whatever.
the fact that this is even a thing is like incredible.
Yeah.
Like cuz like this would normally not have come out like in just normal life. Like I feel like because of COVID and everybody's at home and like streaming has become more the thing, it's like why not?
Yeah.
People are home, let's do
Yeah.
this.
It's like, dude, we have all this footage. Let's make make something out of this. And they did, dude. It's so cool. It is. I'm so glad they did it. Every time Snyder gets like his hands on like to make something extended, like his original copies or cuts or whatever, they're so good, man. Like Batman vs Superman's
Totally.
better. This is better. It's so much better when he gets some length on that. So check it out. So much fun. Guys, that's it for the show. Thanks for listening. Make sure to check our website out at nintendoshow.com. Follow us on Facebook at The Nintendo Show, and remember to like and share and rate us on the podcast service of your choice, and leave us a review on iTunes. Also, check out Weekly Recharge. Like I said, that's on YouTube. All game culture, nerd culture, it's all going to be right there, not just Nintendo. And you can find the Nintendo Show there too. So it's an all-in-one stop for you. And that's it. All right, that's it for the Nintendo Show. Until the other, not next week, but the next week, we will see you later. Bye.